There's a lot of younger recruiters out there that have probably only held one role, and they're interviewing people that are 20, 30 years older than them, and they don't understand that it's a different way of working now to what it was 20 years ago too.
Yeah.
And it's just asking questions. It's like, you don't have to be an expert on every single role or how people work. You just ask just basic questions. It's quite simple from that perspective. But yeah, a lot of people cut people out purely because of how they are on the phone or
because I mean, nobody's going to have every skill that they have listed, and I was like, if these people are just calling me, I know I'm not the only person, and I was like, how do they get paid if they're just calling people like this and just qualifying them?
Yeah, and I think it comes down to like that alignment, right? So it's kind of going, and it's also making a time, like as much, so we'll get lots of job applications to ads, and it's a general rule that people either get a real email from us, not an automated one, if they're not suitable, purely based on location, whether they have a visa or not to work in Australia or whatever it may be, or they get a phone call. Because just because someone calls me, for a receptionist job, but they don't have reception experience, but they have call center experience, doesn't mean that they might not be good for another client of mine. So it's just, the biggest thing, the hardest thing to teach people is being an opportunist, not in a bad way, but seeing the opportunity in someone. I recruit the other way, so I will look for reasons why the person would be good for the job versus why they wouldn't be. So they get a better experience too.
Yeah, I remember I saw an ad on in the newspaper. This is like 10 years ago, and it said, I forgot what the ad basically said, but I'm just paraphrasing. It said, hey, give us $100 and we'll train you, teach you everything about recruiting, and you make 6 figures. Right? And I was like, I don't know about that. And then one of those people associated with that company called me like 4 months later. They found me online and said, hey, I seen your channel online, and I heard you talk about lead generation and all that stuff. And he's like, hey, I think you'd be the perfect fit for what we do over here. I said, why do you say that? Because I already know you already have all the skills. You're a very sociable person, and and you like to talk to people, so I think you'd be a perfect fit. But I said, okay, why do I have to pay you money though? He's like, well, that's just how we do over here, just to weed out all the the tire kickers. Oh shit! Of course, I didn't go for that.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know, like I got asked last week, is transactional sales, what's the difference between transactional sales? Like lead generation is different, right? And it's also what you do with the leads. Like, and agree, if someone's personable, they're not afraid to do sales, they can engage with people, they understand how to maneuver through conversations. Like, yeah, they're great things. A good solid foundation as a recruiter, but I wouldn't ask someone to pay me so I could train them, because what if I wasn't a good trainer? And really your success is hinged on my ability to train you too. So I've heard a lot of, like, in Australia, you probably have it there, but they have we have like telemarketer companies here. We don't recruit for them, but they kind of get you in casually, or they put you on a retainer, and the more sales you do, the longer you can work, or you might get X amount per sale. But they have really strict things in your contract that, your commission can be withheld if you don't meet all these parameters. and it's just dodgy, right? Like if you're gonna hire people, you know, hire them with the best intention and give them all the tools to succeed, because what's the point? Because you then get a reputation for just burning through staff, really.
Yeah. So it's one thing to, just to, okay, before I get too far ahead, most recruiters usually start off with a company, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's one thing to be, you get good as a recruiter. You've been with one company for a couple of years now, but how do you move on to, set yourself up? How do you become an agency? How did that come about?
Well, usually, and it's the same thing, right, with every business. So you start off in a company, whether you're an engineer or a recruiter or whatever it may be. And usually there comes to a point where you feel like you can do it better than, the current company or the person that you're working for. And then you make that leap of moving into, recruitment, or whatever kind of industry that you're in. And then you start running your own business. And then you realize that you need to learn all these things about running a business and getting insurances and everything else. So the journey is crazy in terms of having your own business. But the mentality, I think, when you go from working in a company and then moving out, it might be that you feel constrained by the commission you're getting. It might be that a client has said to you, hey, you should just